now that we have had a brief introduction to MongoDB, it's time to get hold of MongoDB, install it on our computer, and then interact with the MongoDB server. To get started, of course, the first thing is to install MongoDB on your computer. To install MongoDB on your computer, go to mongodb.com, and on the right-hand side here, you will see the download button. You can click on the download button in order to obtain the links to the download. So when you click on the download button, you'll be taken to the download center where you would see various versions of MongoDB available to us. You can access it online using database as a service, but in our case, we're going to download MongoDB and install it on our computer. So to do that, we will choose the community server version of MongoDB. And when you do that, you will be automatically given access to the specific version suited for your computer platform. So in this case, I'm going to download the OS X version of the MongoDB and then do the installation. If you are using a Windows machine, then you can download the Windows installer. For a Linux machine, correspondingly, you can download the corresponding installer here. To install MongoDB, the MongoDB documentation itself provides you with detailed instructions. I don't think I can give you any better instructions than what is already provided there. So to understand how to install MongoDB on your computer, head over to docs.mongodb.com/manual/installation and then click on the Install MongoDB Community Edition. And here you will see the installation instructions for various platforms. So to install on Windows, click on the Install on Windows and then go through the steps given here. And they specify how to download MongoDB and then install the MongoDB Community Edition on your computer. So go ahead and follow these instructions to install MongoDB on your computer. And also they tell you how to get started with MongoDB. Now, once you have completed the installation, you can proceed ahead to the next step that we give in the exercise. Similarly, if you are installing on OS X, just follow the instructions given here to install it on OS X machine, and also correspondingly for the Linux platforms. I assume by now you have installed MongoDB following the instructions given in the documentation. Then once you have completed that, go to a convenient location on your computer. So here I am in my Coursera folder. I'm going to create a new folder here named MongoDB. And then inside the MongoDB folder, I will create a new folder named Data. Now this data folder is where MongoDB will store all the data relevant for my current project. Once you have created these folders, open a command window or a terminal at the MongoDB folder. So here I have my terminal and I am currently in the MongoDB folder that I had just created. So at the prompt, in order to start the Mongo server, type mongod --db path equal to data --bind_IP space 127.0.0.1. Recall that we already have the data subfolder inside the MongoDB folder. So the db path here essentially takes the path to the folder which will store the data for my Mongo application. Now, you can execute this mongod command from any location on your computer as long as you specify the complete path to the location of the data folder where your MongoDB data is going to be stored. Since I am already in the MongoDB folder and the data folder is a subfolder of the MongoDB folder, I can just simply execute the command by saying mongodb --db path equal to data. And this should start up your MongoDB here. And if it asks for some permissions, just allow MongoDB to be available for being connected to from different locations. Open another terminal window or command prompt, and at the prompt type Mongo in order to start the Mongo REPL or Mongo read, evaluate, print loop. So this is a command line way of accessing your Mongo server. So when you type Mongo, it'll automatically connect itself to the MongoDB server that is running on your computer at the port number 27017. So here you see this is automatically connecting. So when you start the Mongo REPL, it'll know exactly where to look for the default MongoDB server, which will be running at port number 27017. In this course, we're going to be running the MongoDB server at its default port number, and so that it's easy to access that. Also, on OS X machine, you might see a warning like this, which says soft R limits too low. You can just ignore that warning. Everything will work just fine, even though you see that warning being printed there. This has something to do with the amount of memory space available for your Mongo process, and this would be just fine to run for the development version of the Mongo that we are going to be using in this course. Now, once the Mongo REPL starts, you will see a prompt, and at the prompt you can type various commands to access your Mongo server. So at the prompt, if you type DB, it will specify the specific database on the Mongo server to which it is currently connected. So now we're going to create a new database there with the name Confusion. So to create a new database, I would just say use Confusion at the prompt. So this will automatically create a new database named Confusion if it doesn't already exist. If it exists, then it will automatically switch to that Confusion database, and thereafter any commands that you execute will be accessing this Confusion database. So at the prompt, if you now type DB, you will see that it prints out saying Confusion. The test that it printed earlier is a test database that is automatically set up when you start running the Mongo server. Now, to learn the various commands that are supported, you can just type db help at the prompt, and this will print out a set of commands that are available to you at the Mongo REPL command prompt. We're going to be using a few of these to access the MongoDB database. Again, typing DB, you see that we are accessing the Confusion database. Let's create a new collection in this Confusion database. To do that, at the prompt, type db.dishes. Now, the dishes here refers to a collection. Now, if this collection already exists, then this will access the dishes collection. If it doesn't exist, then it will create the dishes collection at this point. So in the dishes collection, I'm going to insert. So this is where we use the insert function that is available on the collection here. And then let's insert a record into this collection or a document into this collection. So at the prompt, I will type name I'm just typing some random stuff here just to show you that we can insert a document into the database. So with this particular JSON document that you see here will be automatically inserted into the database. So the insert function takes a JSON document as its parameter here. And immediately the Mongo REPL will respond saying right result, and number inserted is 1. So one record has been inserted, one document has been inserted into this collection. Now to print out the various documents in this collection, we can simply say db dishes find. So the find function will find all the documents in this collection, and it'll print out this documents. Now, if I just say find, then it'll print out this information like this here as a single line, and you can see that this is a JSON string here. Now, we can also use the pretty function that is available, which will print out the documents in a more easily readable manner. So if you type db dishes find pretty, so you see that the document that we had inserted earlier is now seen here. So you can see that the name and the description that we had inserted is available in this document. In addition, note how MongoDB has automatically added an ID field to this document. So if you don't explicitly specify the ID field, MongoDB will automatically add the ID field. And as I explained in the lecture earlier, this is of the type object ID, and you can see that this string specifies the object ID information there. Now, this object ID, as we learned in the lecture earlier, has a specific format which also includes the timestamp, the machine name, the process ID, and also the increment value that is stored here. So now, similarly, if we want to, I can simply create an object ID using the Mongo REPL. So let me just type var ID new object ID, just to demonstrate to you that the object ID will contain the timestamp. So here I have created this variable named ID, which is a new object ID. Now I can simply type ID get timestamp, and you will notice that this will print out the current time value in the ISO format as you see here. So this shows you that the object ID actually contains the timestamp field here. So similarly, you can ask for the other fields also from the object ID. And to quit the Mongo REPL, just type exit at the prompt, and the Mongo REPL will exit and then bring you back to your terminal prompt or your command prompt. With this, we complete this exercise. In this exercise, we have seen how we download and install MongoDB on our computer, how we start up a MongoDB server, and then access the MongoDB server using the Mongo REPL and interact with the server.